We did it. We've teamed up, and together we've created something special. We are the Idaho Underground Sports Network, and we're changing the game. We're covering Idaho high school sports in a way that you haven't seen before. Together, we'll be providing weekly breakdowns and recaps while helping uncover Idaho's top talents at a deeper level. Trust us, you want to be part of this. Boise Sports Talk, EBC Media, and the Gametime Guru bring you Gym Session. Let's get to work. What's up, everybody? Welcome out to another episode of Gym Session, brought to you by the Idaho Underground Sports Network. My name is Shane Larson, the Gametime Guru, alongside AJ Niebergall from EBC Media. We're missing Ty Spangenberg from Boise Sports Talk. The guy's enjoying the sunshine right now in Hawaii. And AJ, we haven't seen you for a couple of weeks, so we're excited to see your smiling face here. It's AJ was on vacation, and then he's on a basketball tournament, and we're both just getting back from basketball tourneys in different areas. We were in Vegas for Idaho Premier. Meta Hoops was up in Seattle doing their thing. Both of us just got back late last night, trying to get back to the regular lifestyle. I'm working today. It's all fun. So anyway, we're excited to have some of us back, and we've got a good episode for you guys today. We're going to be doing an interview. We'll introduce our guest here in just a second. We're really excited about this. We're continuing to bring you guys some coverage, but we did want to make sure you understand that the reason that our Instagram page hasn't been full of a ton of coverage the last week and a half, 2 weeks, was because of us being gone. A lot of us all of us have been gone at some point, but the coverage has been a little bit smaller, I guess, a little bit less than what you guys are used to seeing. But we're going to continue to bring you guys the coverage on the podcast, bringing some great guests on here, and continuing to cover baseball and other spring sports around the valley during this time. Big shout out to Malachi Meyer. We want to say, yesterday, Meyer Media, I'll tell you something right now. He posted on his Instagram, so I'll say this right now, but seatbelts save lives. We want to make sure you guys understand that. Malachi got in a horrific car accident up in the Cascade area, slid off the road into the river, upside down in the river. Him and his brother both came out with no injuries, but he wanted to remind everybody that you got to wear your seatbelts. That saves lives. Literally, if you saw the photos, his car was upside down in the river off of the street because they slid off in the snow, and they both came out alive. So big props to that. Big man upstairs looking out for him. But hey, Meyer Media wanted to make sure everybody understood to wear your seatbelt. So that's a side note there. As we get into the episode, I'm gonna introduce our guest. I'm gonna bring him on before I say this because I got a memory I want to share of Coach Frith. All right, Coach Frith. This is Coach Frith from Pac-West Baseball. He was my PE teacher in middle school. Not a lot of people remember that, or maybe they do, but maybe it's funny to me because I started putting the two and two together about a couple of years ago when his son was playing basketball, of all things, at Rocky. I'm like, hold on, that's Coach Frith's kid. I remember Coach Frith, but I got a memory. I'm going to bring him on here, and I'm going to share that memory with him and see if he remembers it or if he still does this to the kids these days. I don't know, but we're going to bring on Coach Frith. Let me pop him up here. Coach Frith, what's going on, my guy?
Shane, how are you doing? AJ, how are you doing?
Well, Coach.
Oh, we're good. I'm even better now. So here's a memory of mine. I hope anybody that was in my same class. So graduated high school 2006, but let's flash back to when I was in 8th grade. There was this thing called advisory. I don't even know if they do that anymore. It was probably the most pointless thing though. It's like the 20 minutes before your first period of class or school or whatever. And I happened to be in PE class my first period, and advisory was also in with a lot of the kids that were in that same first period. So we were in the gym for advisory. So the morning announcements come on. This is 8th grade, very early in the year. Announcements come on, and we had a bunch of us kids in the boys' locker room that were just talking during the announcements, right? And Coach Frith found that to be disrespectful. So because we weren't listening to the morning announcements, we were just kind of just chatting with ourselves. So Coach Frith comes out and he goes, "That's one chief reminder." So what the frick is a chief reminder? I don't even know what that even means. And then no one even knows what that even means. Next thing comes up, "That's 2 chief reminders." All right, cool, whatever. He goes in and gives us 3 chief reminders. Okay, let me explain to you. And all of us were like, "What is a chief reminder?" And some of the football players were like, "Well, we had to do bear crawls on the football field. Like that was a chief reminder." Like, we're not doing bear crawls. It's early morning. What do you mean we're doing bear crawls? What is a chief reminder? We didn't think anything of it. We go into first period though, and the ones that were still there, the majority of us were from advisory. And Coach Frith, you to this day, I have never been that physically exhausted my entire life. We had to put our hands behind our head and do squat jumps. And he was making us do it for like a minute straight, right? And that was one chief reminder. And once we were done, we got a very, very short break. And then we had to do another one where we're squatting and we're jumping, hands over our heads. Keep in mind, I had to go to class like the rest of the day. So all of us, and this is just one funny thing, I remember this because he said, if any of you aren't doing it, we're going to start over. And you were looking at kids to see if they were cheating it. And, you know, all of us are like, as soon as you turn around, we're trying to take a quick break, you know, trying to do our thing. But I fell over because my legs gave out. I remember we're in the middle of it and I'm like about to cry because we're doing squat jumps and my legs gave out and I fell down. And everybody looked terrified at me, and I was terrified. I was about to start crying because I couldn't get up. I was like, Coach Frith is going to turn around. He's going to get us. And I jump up. Anyway, we walk back. We get done with it. And I was like, oh, so that's what a chief reminder is. And I was like, holy frick, dude. That's when I learned, okay, well, here's respect for one. You got to have respect. Learn what it is. You learn once, you probably won't ever do it again. But I go to my second period class. I was so sick from doing those. I was so sick. I was going to puke the whole day because I was like completely out. And I remember one of my friends goes, Shane, are you okay? Because I got there, my face was pale white. Eyes were just like gone. And I was like, dude, I got the rest of the day for this. And so I always remember chief reminders, you know, and not to say like, Coach Frith, you were an amazing teacher. We loved you. We did the Monday Mile. Yeah, quit being soft. We learned pretty dang quick that you're sure. So anyway, do you still do chief reminders? That's my question.
Shane, first of all, I'm sorry that's about the only memory you have of me back in the day. But it sounds like, Shane, it made a difference. I mean, it made an impact on you, didn't it?
It did. It definitely did. And I wish, honest to goodness, Coach Frith, I wish I could have you with me and my basketball team that I coach right now. We would be doing chief reminders left and right. In fact, that might be something we implement this week. I'm just going to say that right now.
There you go.
Then you can come over to my practice and do the same thing because I got some guys that need some too.
We can take care of that too. Well, to answer your question, we do some form of, we still call them chief reminders to get that point across. I don't know if you remember the lifetime rules we had. They haven't changed. You do what's right, you do your best, and you treat others the way you want to be treated. And when they're not following those rules, there's going to be a consequence. And when they follow the rules, they have a great time in my class.
Now, dude, you're an amazing teacher. We loved you. And I will tell you, I never had to hear chief reminder again. So like it worked. We heard it once and we did them and we never did it again. In fact, if anybody was talking during announcements, everyone, shut up. You shut up right now. Like it was like we learned our lesson quick. So all right, Coach Frith, let's get into the baseball talk real quick so I can respect your time. I love this. I'm so happy to have you on here, man. So Pac-West Baseball. I was reading up on some of the stuff about it, like on the website and everything. You're the director, the main guy over there. And you've got quite the journey, which I didn't know this. I wish I would have known more about this back when I was younger, but like your baseball journey is super unique. Your own journey as a player and everything. So real quick, before we even get into that discussion about what you're doing with Pac-West, can you explain for those who are listening across the state of Idaho, your journey through baseball and what you did through baseball? Because your son as well is like quite the player too. So we want to know what your journey was like.
Okay. Well, it's kind of twofold. I have a background as a coach and then a background as an academy owner. And as a coach, it actually started in the late 80s. I had an opportunity to coach American Legion baseball in Caldwell with the Caldwell Silver Streaks with Harvey Blank. And then I moved on to Meridian High School, your alma mater, with the legendary coach Mo Brooks. Coached with him for a couple of years, unbelievable opportunity. And then from there, I moved on to the College of Idaho. Coached with Tim Mooney and Sean Humberger, who's currently the head coach there. And then during that time in that window, that's when I met my wife, Christy Chatterton, and thank heavens my kids got their basketball shot from their mother. She was a college basketball All-American, so we're very happy that they got their skills from their mother. after the College of Idaho, I actually had a few opportunities to move on to the Division I level to coach college baseball, but the timing was never right for me. And so I passed on those opportunities. And then I got back into high school coaching. Went to Mountain View High School and coached a year with Matt Rasmussen, who's still there, does one of the best programs in the state over there at Mountain View High School. Was there with him for a year. And then following that, in 2008, went to Rocky Mountain High School with Jake Taylor. Jake and I have known each other for a really long time, and we've always seemed to connect on the way that we think the game should be played. And we always talked about coaching together. And then as soon as Rocky was going to open, he reached out to me and asked me, along with Brandy Bangachia and Jason Wunderlich, to go over there and coach at Rocky. I was there until 2017, in which I stopped because of my academy business. It was just, my schedule just didn't allow it. As far as the academy piece of it, I actually started, when I first moved here back in the late 80s, literally would give private lessons out of the back of my truck. If you wanted a lesson, I would meet you over at a local park and give you a private lesson. And then it evolved into doing more lessons and some pitching camps. And then in 1998 is when Pac-West officially evolved, because I was so busy. I thought, you know what, we need to turn this into a business. And so in 98, we started Pac-West Baseball. And it was just simply primarily pitching and pitching camps. From there, fast forward now into the later 2000s, I decided to get into the club scene a little bit. And I started the Idaho Rockies scout team. Reached out to the director of scouting at that time with the Colorado Rockies, gave him my vision on what I wanted to do. The goal was to bring the best players in the Treasure Valley and the surrounding areas to play for the Rockies, prepare them not only for high school baseball, but give them opportunities at the next level. And then the focus was player and character development. It wasn't about winning tournaments. It was about preparing them, developing their skills for the next level. And as far as the character development piece, making them better young men. And so the Rockies love that idea, and we've had their support ever since. And so as I evolved in that, in 2020, Bo Hamilton, who is the owner of GTS, and Chris Hoshaw, we had conversations about starting an academy together. And so in 2021, we opened the doors of Gametime Academy. Now, within Gametime Academy, the umbrella of Pac-West Baseball and GTS, we work our business inside of that building. I oversee a Gametime Academy. I'm the director of baseball with Gametime Academy, still the owner-operator of Pac-West Baseball. Bo Hamilton is still owns and operates GTS. And then Chris Hoshaw is the vice president of our academy and is highly involved on the academy piece along with GTS. Year one, when we opened up the academy back in a year ago, February, we had 6 club teams. We've now gone into year 2. We have 13 club teams.
Wow.
From 9U to 18U. We have 2 hitting instructors. We have myself and another pitching instructor. We have softball instructors on board. We actually have a nutritionist on board.
Oh, nice.
So within that, obviously, we offer private instruction. We do a lot of camps. We have the club teams that are involved as well. And again, our focus is player and character development. That doesn't change. Our angle with the club team is, one of the things we want to do is get the high school coaches involved to create that relationship with high school coaches. So sprinkled within our 13 teams, we have 10 varsity coaches that are involved in some capacity in coaching with our club teams, which we think is very important. And again, our focus is player development and character development. And we tell our kids, when you walk in our facility, you're not going to see a trophy, you're not going to see a banner anywhere. What we celebrate is academic success in the classroom. We have a wall of excellence where a young man has to get a 3.0 GPA or higher to get on that academic wall of excellence. So we celebrate that. We celebrate community service. If you come in our facility, we have pictures of all the community service projects that all of our clubs have done. All of our clubs are required to do a minimum of 2 community service projects to give back to the community. So we celebrate those things. Along the way, we try and make really good baseball players, and we do. Our clubs are very successful. They win a lot, but that's not our priority. And so here we are in 2022, and things are rolling extremely well. We're located on the corner of in Meridian, on the corner of Franklin, Locust Grove. We've got a 10,000 square foot facility with office space, restrooms. We've got a pro shop, a nutrition center, and a team classroom. And so we're just extremely excited about the direction the Gametime Academy, Pac-West Baseball, and GTS are going.
Goodness, it's like one big math problem, though, too. You're like piecing these things. Now it makes more sense to me, though, because I always was wondering that because I read up on what you were doing. I saw Pac-West Baseball. I knew the Gametime. I knew all this stuff, but I didn't know how it all fit together. Now I do. And then Speaking of that, we might need to pick your brain on how to get a 10,000 square foot facility for basketball or something, for crying out loud. We need some of that going around in the Valley too sometime. But that's awesome what you guys have been able to do and accomplish, and the growth in 1 year. I don't think people who run businesses understand. Well, people who run businesses understand it, but the casuals don't understand. That's a huge growth spurt in just 1 year. It speaks to your success and what the respect people have for what you've got going on. I do have a question for you then, because as the listeners can hear, your experience dates back to the 80s. You've got a lot of coaching experience at various levels. I want you to tell us real quick, in the baseball world, for all the baseball players out there, whether or not they're part of what you have going on with the academy or not, what is the biggest piece that they should know if they want to play at the next level of baseball? See, we're basketball experts and some football experts. Baseball, and AJ knows baseball too, but I want to ask this question. What does it take for a baseball player to play at the next level? We know what it takes for those other sports too, but I want to know from your perspective, like, what's the biggest thing that they should be knowing now?
That's a good question. I don't think it changes, Shane, from sport to sport. I think first of all, the physicality of it. Kids are getting bigger, stronger, and faster. They got to commit themselves to the weight room. And then the other part is skill development, sharpening your craft, and spending time, whether it's private lessons or at practice or your own reps at home, but developing your skill. So I would say, get bigger, stronger, and faster in the weight room, and then develop your skills.
I love that. AJ, what questions you got for Coach Frith for us, man? I've had you being quiet, and that's usually not the case. AJ's usually not the quiet one.
No, it's actually fun to talk to him because I grew up in a baseball family, 2 uncles who played Major League Ball. I have a cousin right now that's starting for the A's. And so people don't know that about me. I love basketball, but baseball was my sport. Baseball is what my family did. Spring training every year. My dad actually helped start OBA, which is Oregon Baseball Academy out there. My uncle coached for the Phillies minor league team. And so I understand this language, and it's fun to hear that you're doing it out here. And I've looked into your stuff as well. Obviously I know your son well. I covered him when he played for what me and Shane think is maybe the best team ever in the state of Idaho from a basketball perspective. Even though they didn't win it, you could make that argument. They were that talented. But yeah, man, it's crazy how fast you've got it going. Like Shane said, that growth spurt, people don't realize. I mean, that's a grind, but you've gotten there quick, and it helps that. Have you seen the growth of the Valley from like a real estate perspective? Have you seen that affect your business at all? All these new
very much so. Yeah, very much so. We're getting a large influx of clients that are from California, Texas, Washington, and Oregon. So from the business side, that's been really good for us. From the traffic side, not so good.
No, that's awesome. But I mean, looking at your stuff, I mean, you guys have helped, produce 4 Gatorade Players of the Year. I think it's said you've got 7 current major league pitchers. I know you got Boyd over there for the Blue Jays. I'm a Blue Jays guy this year, even though my cousin plays for the A's. I'm a Blue Jays guy because I like, Little Bichette, Little Guerrero, all those young kids that are playing for the Blue Jays that I watched all their dads growing up. And so that's a fun team to follow. But that's cool. You guys got, I think it's 7 major league pitchers.
We have 7. Yeah, I've had 7 major league guys come through. The current one you're talking about is Matt Boyd. He actually got traded to the Detroit Tigers.
Well, forget him then.
Sorry about that.
Go Blue Jays. No, and then I saw you said, you guys get hundreds of kids to the next level, help kids reach goals. And that's actually very similar to why we started what we started here. So just to see what you're doing from a baseball perspective, I did want to ask you, since you're so familiar, obviously, do you think this Rocky Mountain team is talented enough to go in the whole thing? Obviously, they're at the top of our power rankings. Timberline has been down a little bit the last couple of weeks, but they are the champs. Always tough to take out the champs. Do you think this Rocky team has a chance to raise the trophy?
Well, I'm always going to root for Rocky because I'm a Rocky guy. But I think, it always comes down to me. It's you got the same 4 teams for the most part. You got Rocky, Timberline, Eagle, and Mountain View, and they'll beat up on each other in the SIC. They all have really good players, and when you have a really good pitcher, they have that ability to make your team really good on any given day. Yeah. And so I think Rocky has a really good pitching staff. Yeah. And so I think they're going to be right in the race.
Yeah. And that's what it always comes down to, doesn't it? Is pitching, it's defense. It's all that, all those, the not so bright and shiny things, like same with basketball. We saw it this year. Hawaii maybe wasn't the best offensive team at times, but they were by far the best defensive team, and they won the state championship. It's going to be fun to watch. I've gotten more familiar over the last couple of weeks. I like Skyview. I just think those kids are built different over there. They got a bunch of dogs. They aren't always as deep. Don't always have maybe a big arm, not necessarily 2 or 3 like maybe Rocky or Timberline or Mountain View. But it's been fun to see everybody's kind of beating each other. Rocky's hanging out up top, but to see Skyview beat Timberline and then lose to Rocky by 1 and see Hawaii starting to win games. And it makes the league fun. And for our first year covering it, it's been enjoyable. I'm excited to be home now and to get a little bit more, engulfed in that. But I'm excited to see you around, talk some baseball.
Yeah, Skyview, they've got young talent. They're going to be around for a while. They've got a sophomore class that's really good. And so they're going to be in the conversation for the next few years. Okay. I think another school, you brought up Hawaii Baseball. It's a first-year program there. But Russ Wright, their coach, who's literally a Hall of Fame coach, watch out for them. Watch out for them by the end of this season.
Really? Okay. Can't wait for that.
Hot take from Coach Frith. I'm marking that down. This will probably go on social media, just so you know. That's the media. Yeah. So one of my last questions for you, Coach, because we want to respect your time here.
I'm good. We're good.
Oh, you're good? Okay.
Good.
So as for the kids you've coached, I know you've probably coached tons, as AJ just mentioned. You've had a lot of kids have success, but who is one that stands out to you? I'm sure there's a lot, but if you could mention one that stands out to you, and what did they do to differentiate themselves from others? Like, what was their work ethic like? What were these kids doing that you saw, whether it be the small things or whatever, was in the classroom, was it the way they respected people? What was their work ethic like? All that stuff that differentiated themselves from the rest of them.
Well, that's a tough question, Shane, to come up with one, but I can think of one right now, because he's the most current one and probably the most recognizable one. But I've had a lot of great kids every year that I just absolutely love and respect. But the most current one would probably be Gabe Hughes. Gabe, I don't know if you're very familiar with Gabe, but he's currently at Gonzaga University. He's their number one starter. He's currently ranked as the 42nd prospect in the entire country. He's considered probably the top pitcher in the West. So he's projected to go late first round, early second round in the draft this year. As long as he gets it done on the field as a pitcher and he stays healthy, he has a bright future ahead of him. I've known Gabe from the time he's been 9 years old. Him and his brother Jacob. His brother Jacob is at University of Oregon as a midweek starter. But Gabe, from the time he was 9 years old, had him, back then when All Stars was really big, because he's the same grade as my son Cooper. I coached their team, and so I've known Gabe from the time he's been 9 until now. I've given him pitching lessons from the time he's been 9 up until now. I coached him at Rocky Mountain High School all the way through. And so what people see with Gabe is they see the success. It's easy to see that. Here's a guy that throws 96 to 98 with a wipeout slider and 6'4", 220 pounds, and he's going to get drafted, But maybe what they don't see, and people that know Gabe know this, number one, he's going to probably graduate in 3 years from Gonzaga.
Wow.
He is a tremendous student, and he takes academics very seriously. Both his parents are doctors. He's talked about that's the direction he might want to go in his career down the road. And so academically, he just works so hard in the classroom. And then when you see a guy that works that hard in the classroom, those type of guys are guys that are work guys. They work hard on the field for you, And Gabe's that guy that, that spends a lot of time and literally transformed his body from being a young man graduating high school to he's a man. 6'4", 220 pounds. That didn't come by naturally. It came by a tremendous amount of work. He's a very hard worker. And just a high character kid, extremely coachable, and a great teammate. The players, his teammates, kids love Gabe because he's a good person.
I think you just said something there, Coach, with how he is in the classroom. I mean, like you said, usually guys who are like that in the classroom are extremely coachable. And I mean, even with what me and Shane are doing now with club basketball, the kids are just different these days. They're continuing to change, and they're not as coachable, in my opinion. Everybody thinks they know everything. Everybody thinks they know what it takes. But guys like that are actually more rare than we think. And I'm sure you can attest to that as well. Be coachable. Listen, people have had these life experiences in order to, to help you. And guys decide to coach because they want to help in that way. And I would just encourage all athletes to take that advice. Be coachable, be a sponge, take things in and whatnot. But you're right. It's probably a lot easier for guys who work hard in the classroom to have it translate and be coachable on the field. So no, I appreciate that story about Gabe. I'm excited to follow him.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to hear about him when the draft comes around. Gabe's going to, again, he has a potential to be a mid-round, first-round draft pick. Wow. And so just keep your eye on Gonzaga. He's their Friday night starter, and we'll see how things transpires for Gabe. But when you talk about kids, if you're to talk to coaches that have been around and teachers that have been around, kids have changed. And it kind of goes with your sweatshirt, AJ. Quit being soft. I'm not saying all kids are like this. But it seems like there's more soft kids out there than there used to be. And I think it's because Society has changed a little bit. You get kids that feel a sense of entitlement, that things are owed to them, and they don't go out there and have that grinder mentality. They're going to get out there and they're going to earn it, right? And there are kids out there that do that, and those are the kids that are ahead.
That's right. Me and Shane were talking about that just this morning. Same thing.
Yeah.
It's you've got to put in that extra work. You've got to commit to it. It's not just going to be given to you. And the guys that do that are the guys that we watch on TV.
They are, and there's no magic formula. I tell the kids, I don't have a magic wand. You talk about my son Cooper. I've got, he's currently serving a church mission, but after he gets back, he's gonna go on and play at Dixie State. And I've got 2 daughters that play at the College of Idaho. One's a volleyball player and a basketball player. I got a younger one that's a freshman at Rocky, and they hear it from me all the time. If you want something, go earn it. You got to work. There is no magic potion. You want to get bigger and stronger and faster. We go to off the field a lot. Big fans of Taylor over there off the field, but get in the weight room as well. You need to spend time in the weight room and then go develop your skill. You want to become a better free throw shooter, Shane. You got to get out there and you got to put up, 500 shots a day, 1,000 shots a day if you want to become a better shooter. And you just got to work at it, and you got to love it. You got to want to do it, not because your parents or coach tells it to you. It's got to be, I love it. I love the game of baseball. I love the game of basketball or whatever it might be. You have a passion for it. You're a grinder, and you want to go out there and do that.
Yeah,
totally. I think we're struggling because we don't have enough. Like, there's the guys on TV, and then there's a massive drop off, and so a lot of these kids don't have a lot of friends in their inner circle. They got a lot of teammates, but those teammates don't necessarily set the right example. All of them, right? Not all of them are like Gabe, and that's for every sport combined. So we're trying to develop more young men, young women that can understand the grind, but they don't have a lot of examples that are around their age right now, unfortunately. Same, like you just said it, Coach. In the basketball world, I literally asked my team, I'm 33 years old now, and I got up 500 shots 3 days a week last week, three days in a row. I got 500 shots. So do you guys realize what 500 shots takes? What do you mean? I was like, it took me an hour and a half or by myself to do it. So an hour and 14 minutes by myself to shoot 500 shots because I didn't have a rebounder for 2 of those days. The next day, it took us an hour and a half to get 500 shots apiece between me and my rebounder, but we had to go straight through. So we were gassed. After 350 shots, you're gassed. And I said, but do you realize, you got to break out that hour and a half and go get shots up and then recover, eat right, go to school, do what you got to do, and then come to practice or then go to the weight room. You have to understand, those are the things that you have to do, but nobody I was talking to does 500 shots. I said, okay, and I'm 33. Where are you guys at? You guys got to hold each other accountable. Where are we at? Come on.
There's so many, we were kind of just touching on this. There's so many, I don't want to get off topic, but there's so many distractions with these devices. I just got back from a trip from Seattle last night, and I can't tell you how distracted, all you need is a hotel room because this all everybody's doing. I don't even think we went and did anything. I think we went to the mall for an hour, and then the rest of the trip was this. Yeah. I mean, and that keeps kids from working and wanting to work. I mean, it's just, like you said, it's you gotta really consciously prioritize what you want out of life, and then you've got to surround yourself with the right people who are going to hold you accountable, and you've got to be able to be coachable. You've got to be able to, to take constructive criticism, and you're going to go through it. But like you guys said, it's a lot of this, and there's just been a lot of changes. So it's guys like us who are trying to implement that and help kids understand that without having them hate us.
Oh, go ahead, Coach.
Well, I was just going to say, you get back to holding kids accountable and showing some tough love on kids. Well, kids that are soft don't like to be coached by guys like that. You know what I mean? Kids that are soft don't want to be coached by a guy that's going to hold them accountable or be honest with them. And those type of guys are never been a right fit for me because I'm going to be honest with kids. I'm going to coach them up, but I'm going to be honest with you. We're going to certainly celebrate your successes, but boy, we're going to be honest with it every step of the way. And great players want that. Great players want that honesty.
Yeah.
Here's what I'll say. I'll add to that. Kids that are soft don't like chief reminders. That's how we'll cut this whole conversation. Kids that are soft don't like chief reminders. I will tell you right now. See, Coach Frith, that's why I love you though, because you are a likable dude. I actually loved you all through all through middle school when I had you as my teacher. You were like one of my favorite like you were awesome. Monday Miles, like you were cool. Like but I do remember that it was like, oh shoot, like he can really get pissed. But what's funny about it is you did it in a way that was just like, you weren't screaming at us. You just simply, that's the most intimidating form. That's one chief reminder, back to your office. That's two chief reminder. And that's all he said. And it was like a dad telling his kids, like, all right, I told you what was going to happen. And you weren't like yelling at us. You're like, here's the deal. And you're going to get it done. And we're like, oh shoot. All right. So we gained respect for you. So I just want you to know, like, I loved it. It taught me a lesson, but kids that are soft don't like chief reminders. And they're the ones who probably don't learn from it. I was probably soft because I fell down during my chief reminders, but I learned from it, never did it again.
You were soft, Shane.
Dude, you're awesome, Coach. I do appreciate your time, and we really love talking with you on here. We'll make sure in the description of this video here on YouTube that we put the location for where your facility is at here in Meridian for those. Now, is there any other way for people to contact you if someone's listening to this and like, hey, I want my child to be able to maybe contact Coach Frith? Is that in, like, do we Google that, or where do we find that information to get a hold of you?
So we have a website. It's pacwestbaseball.com. And I'm best through email. You know, they can directly email me. I like to go through my communication through email, and that's on the website as well. And so that's the best way for them to get a hold of me.
Awesome. I'm going to put that here in the description. So pacwestbaseball.com, and then you'll find his email address there through the website. So we encourage anybody, parents and athletes themselves, to contact Coach Frith if you guys are interested. He's got a lot of stuff to offer over there with a lot of experience with the coaching staff and everyone, and a nutritionist, which I could probably take advantage of. But yeah, like everybody could use a nutritionist, right? That's awesome. So Coach Frith, we just want to say thank you for joining us, and I guess best of luck to you, and hopefully we'll talk to you here in the near future. All right, my man?
Thank you, you guys. Thank you so much for what you're doing for Idaho high school sports. I think this is awesome. And I know as a fan of Idaho high school sports, when you see, guys like you that are out here promoting it and getting it out there, just regardless of the sport, we love it and we appreciate it. So I know I speak on behalf of all the coaches out there. Thank you so much for what you guys are doing.
Yeah, we appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
All
and we'll talk to you soon. All right, Coach?
Okay.
All right, take care.
All right, Coach.
All right, AJ.
That was a meant to be interview, and I think you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah,
that was perfect timing. He did an unbelievable job. I can't wait to meet him in person and chat baseball with him and all that stuff, because it sounds like he's pretty like-minded when it comes to the way we think and coach and all that as well.
Yeah, I'm like smiling right now because Coach was like the perfect time fit for what we were like. It was just perfect timing. That's AJ and I know we were chatting this morning, and it just happened to be, we didn't know that was going to happen. We were chatting with him, and we didn't know what was going to be said, and that was perfect. So we appreciate him. Now, AJ, real quick, as we're about to wrap this up, tell us, what can the baseball fans expect from us? Is there any insight that you have right now as far as like the baseball season, what you're excited to see since now you're back with us after 2 weeks off? What are you excited for?
I mean, I would say this: baseball is even more unpredictable than football and basketball, right? I mean, it's such a different type of sport. What I'm excited about is, I mean, I've been doing a lot more following than I have been covering so far. I know, just so everybody knows, Coach DM is a baseball addict, so we will be at games. He's already buying bags of seeds, and he's like, "When we go into games?" So we're going to be out there, but. Man, I like how kind of wide open it feels. It's similar to basketball this year, where you've kind of got it's top heavy. You feel like kind of Timberline and Rocky are kind of like Eagle and Hawaii were, but then you got these teams that are right there, but you don't realize how close those teams behind them are, and they can beat them. They've shown they can beat them and play with them. Skyview almost beat Timberline and Rocky back to back. So it's going to be fun. Once the weather gets nice, I mean, get out to a game, enjoy the beautiful game of baseball, America's favorite pastime, right? But I know we'll be out and about more and more, especially as the weather turns, and we'll really hype things up here once we get to the end of the season and playoffs and state and all that. We'll have a great time with it. And I'm excited to get to know the athletes. I'm excited to get to know the coaches and just build relationships. That's what we love to do. Just using sports as a tool, man. So appreciate Coach Frith, appreciate you, Shane, and all of our crew. And but yeah, I think the fans can expect just more fun. That's what we do. That's what we're about.
Absolutely. We're excited. You guys, we told you before, the coverage be a tad different for the spring, but we are going to be providing that coverage still. Like, there's going to be something out there for you. We just have a lot of stuff going on the outside, but, you know, AJ's a baseball fanatic, and that's why I'm excited to at least have him back to even give insight, right? Because he's the baseball fanatic, so we're excited to have you, man. And, yeah, we're stoked. There's a lot coming down the pipeline from us, and we'll continue doing our thing. We look forward to covering you guys. And on behalf of AJ from EBC Media and Ty Spangenberg from Boise Sports Talk, I am Shane from the Gametime Guru. Make sure to follow us in our our respective channels, and we'll be coming to you next time with another episode. Take care.
Aloha, Ty.